of the things that's super interesting about making music at this point in my life as well is that it's like I went through a roller coaster of sorts in terms of I really just wanted to do it for fun, high school years and when I was younger. And then obviously school happened, and then I started to think of career, and I was like, okay, I want to see if I could really take this to where I think I can really take it, with the talent and everything else. So I started doing that, and then slowly financial concerns became a thing, and I was like, okay, I want to try and do things that'll like get me high levels of visibility, exposure, this, that, and the third. But then I slowly found that started to affect the music in a sense. It didn't really, there's nothing I put out that I'm like, oh, that doesn't really feel like me. But I just found that my writing process and the creative process itself started to become a little tainted. So then I had to take a step away and just reevaluate and look back and ask myself, like, okay, why did I even start to do this thing in the beginning? Because I didn't want to do it to make some soulless type of stuff. And thankfully I never got too deep down that rabbit hole, but I was able to like refine the reason why I was doing stuff. And thankfully I'm back in a good place again. So long may that continue, and 2020 should see some good stuff. The reason I made Connect, it's a song that means a lot in the sense of, I personally grew up moving a lot and living in a number of countries. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria, and then I moved to Mauritius. And then after that, Mauritius, before I go on, Mauritius is an island close to Madagascar for y'all who don't know. After that, I moved to Nairobi, Kenya. I lived there for a while, and then I moved again to Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. And lastly, I moved to Canada, and I've been here since. So, like, moving a lot and like getting immersed in different cultures, meeting different people is something that's been my lived experience. So I wanted to have a song that reflected that, but also have like a more grown take on what that looked like. So recently I had a trip to New York. I went there, I performed April of last year, and the experience was like super eye-opening in terms of, wow, like this is what, moving around and seeing people from so many different places and different cultures can be. It wasn't new in the sense that I hadn't seen it before, but it was new in the sense of like I was doing it with music, like I went to play a show. So it was just really inspiring in that sense. So obviously I met people there, ended up, like I didn't really sleep too much. I just to spend as much of my time as I could just walking around the city, meeting people, trying to take in as much as I could before I had to leave again for Toronto. That was really where the song came from, like that whole energy and whole vibe. And it took me a while just trying to find like the right beat, the right kind of way to execute on that. But eventually I did, thankfully. And that was that. That's how Connect came to be. And I'm happy it's out. I'm very excited for next year. Just because I feel like all the stuff I've been doing so far has like led me into a certain groove. I'm reaching out to a bunch of producers that I'd love to work with, that I feel like can take the sound to the place I'm looking for. And I think I should really get in my bag for like the next few months. And that's something that's really important in terms of, obviously I want to be making music that's good, like holistically, you're like, oh, make good stuff, obviously. But I'm just trying to like push myself towards, like I have a certain goal in terms of what I'm really trying to capture. If I'm talking about relationships, like how am I entering that whole realm in a way that people haven't really touched on before? If I'm talking about like, job concerns, finances, all that kind of stuff that everyone has to go through, especially when you're young, how am I going to do that in a way that's like, that pushes the envelope? And those are the questions that I feel like I'm answering now at this point, that obviously I've been making music for like a little while now. But this is really this is the first time I felt like I'm starting to find a lot of answers to those questions in terms of how to do these things. So there's a couple songs I have in mind that are really I wonder how the streets are gonna take them. But if all goes to plan, I think everything's gonna go to plan. We'll see. Shows coming up. January 17th. I actually have a show in Toronto at the supermarket venue in Kensington Market. And we will see how that goes. I'm trying to bring a band out. Hopefully that should, that should be cool. In terms of practice and everything, we'll see how that goes. I'm still looking for people to open up the show. I have a few people in mind, have to reach out and then see how that conversation goes. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. It'll be the first show that I've put on myself as opposed to performing under someone else's umbrella. So I have a couple like cool ideas in terms of what that's gonna look like. Obviously I have a little bit of time. I'm making this in November. But we'll see how that goes.